Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the match preview. West Ham United versus Everton. A huge game for both clubs. El Sacchio.
What it's called, isn't it?
Frank Lampard and David Moyes both facing sack with defeat. Both clubs on the same amount of points. West Ham have got one more goal than us. So obviously West Ham obviously at home, so it's you would see them as favourites, but it is a massive game, isn't it? I mean, it is a massive game, I think, for Everton in terms of just everything going on. You know, this could lead to sacking, it could lead to things with the board, it could, it's just massive.
It is. It's huge. West Ham have actually lost 2 more games than Everton as well. They've lost 12 of their 19. And a -10 Everton, a -11. And of course, on the other side of that, the glass half full side of that, if results went Everton's way and Everton won, they could be 14th. Well, that could have happened last week and it didn't. It's a huge game. It's a huge game. Obviously, West Ham are home, so the advantage you would think would be with them. Very much as it was with Everton last week, and we didn't take advantage of that. So it's a big game, and I do believe one of these two will be sacked over the weekend.
The mad thing is, it's
a draw.
The funny thing is, though, even if West Ham win, it still would be more likely that it was David Moyes, I think, being sacked, just because the peculiar nature of everything that's going on, because of I think people probably thought if Everton got beat last week, he would have been sacked, or even maybe the game before he'd been sacked.
It's convenient, though, the 2-week break, isn't it?
For us.
It's that thing for us where you look at something and you go, if they're going to make the change, it's probably going to be then.
Yeah.
And they give him. I don't want to feel like this about Frank Lampard, that's all. But you said it might have been last week. It's got that Marco Silva feel about it, with the end where they were just playing a couple of games out and they were going to make the change no matter what. And that's how it feels. And I hope I'm wrong, because I hope Everton win.
It's funny that, because I'd like to think that there was people in charge who were capable of making those decisions, but I don't think there are. It just feels to me like it's just dragging now. It just feels like there's no one.
Do you think
no one in the house to do it?
Realistically, we know the board stuff and all of the nonsense that's gone on with that over the last week. Stories conflicting and everything else. But do you think that it matters what they think in terms of this decision? So that board might have, wherever they were, I know they were apparently watching the game together, although I don't know who put that out, maybe that didn't get out, so it sneaked out another way, but sure they were watching the game together or whatever, right? And then it's, the fire stick. And at 5 o'clock we've lost, and they're sat there going, that's another home defeat, terrible, 3 wins, blah, blah, blah. I think we should chase them. And they go, we're in it. And then he phoned Farhad and he's like, lad, I'm on my yacht. You know what I mean? Bella. Are they all sitting there in that room going, Bella Farhad, lad? But if he, and what I mean by that, and the same is the other way, is that board strong enough? Is any board strong enough if you've got an owner who owns?
I don't think the board's strong enough. Do you really think on a 4-man board that's got Grant Ingles and Graham Sharp, it's capable of ringing up Farhad Moshiri and telling them to make a decision? But it's not strong. It hasn't got a leader on it.
Even the other way. Farhad wants to sack them. Are that board strong enough to go, no, we think you should keep him?
Farhad will just ring Frank Lampard and tell him he's sacked.
Would that be... Right.
Or convene a meeting.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem with Everton, is that... And it could be me, you, John and Ned on the board. Farhad Moshiri owns the football club and we're going, don't sack him, because give him a bit longer. And he goes, 94% here, I'm sacking him.
The difference is, Baz, that I think me, you, John, and definitely Ned, one of us would resign or walk away. One of us would have the bollocks to walk away.
Well, that might still happen, mightn't it?
No, I'm just saying, I think that one of us would have the bollocks.
What do you think? Are you saying to me then that right now in this situation is that even if Everton were to lose Saturday, you think Frank Lampard would still be in charge?
Because I don't think there's a vacuum of leadership at this football club.
Okay.
I think that's very evident, because you can't, it's all well and good saying the fella who owns it makes all the decisions. Well, does Joe Lewis ring up Dingo at Spurs, Levy, and say, you know, Levy, look at him as a character, strong, vocal, as a presence, puts himself on Skype, fronts it up when decisions are made. Joe Lewis sits on his boat. Now, Joe Lewis might pick up the phone and say, I think you might need to sack this fella. But there's a presence there. I don't think we have a board that has any kind of presence. Denise Barrett-Baxendale, Bill Kenwright, they go hiding. They only come out when things are good, which means we haven't seen them for years, basically. The other two are non-entities, even though they've got their own flags.
I've got their own flags.
They're non-entities, aren't they? Like, even no other football clubs around the world, they'd get Graham Sharp and they'd use him as, like, they'd put him out because he has got that link to the fans, but they don't do that either. So
and because he was a tremendous
But
football player and he's played in the game.
Yeah.
And
other clubs use that, like Bayern Munich and stuff like that.
Graham never talks, does he?
Oliver Kahn is now the president of Bayern Munich. Yeah. All these things. We're so weak as a football club. We're so weak to communicating that the owner will go on Talk Sport or put a letter out, and it's the football club don't really understand or don't have any dealings with it, and then they stay silent, and it's a weak football club, which means that what's the point of the board? Is it there just to deal with the day-to-day stuff of running a club? Does it have anything going for it? I don't think it does, and that's why I'm not 100% certain that Frank Lampard will be sacked, because it might be a case of, because to sack him means you've got an idea of who you're going to bring in next. I don't think they know who's going to come in next. I actually thought around the Manchester United game that they would probably like start talking to people. Doesn't sound like it. We're not being linked with any managers. There's no one out there sort of fronting it. There's no one going on Sky going, oh, well, you know, I'm not really interested. You know, Sean Dyche is not, you know, sitting there going, well, you know, I don't want the job, but you know, because that's normally what happens. People get wind of what's going on through their agents and stuff, and they start coming up and getting appearances on Sky and the BBC and they get asked. It happened. Sam Allardyce, don't forget. Before Sam Allardyce got the job, he was like, well, no, oh, I'm flattered. Rafa Benitez literally was bleeding.
Post the pictures on Instagram. You know, I'm back in Liverpool.
Hey lads, I know the city. I know the city, lads. I've got my fast pass. You know, all these things, we're not hearing nothing. To me, that side of things is rudderless. But going into this game, listen, Frank Lampard, I'll give him one thing, right? Whether he's a good manager or not, he is fronting it. He's going in there. He's not sort of setting himself up as in like, oh, it's just another game in a way. I think he does genuinely believe that he's good enough to do the Everton job. He wants to do the Everton job. You go to West Ham, where obviously it's his former club, a place that not many, you know, he's not really liked that much. Obviously, had a little bit of a go with them when we beat them at Goodison, one of our 2 victories. So obviously, he'll be trying to set us up to get 3 points down there, or at least get something out of there ahead of, as you said, a 2-week break before we play Arsenal. And, you know, if we go there and, you know, we do play the 5 again and you know, we get a couple of chances. Listen, these are level with us. We shouldn't be going there flapping it. I know confidence is obviously in the mud, but we should be going there thinking, right, we'll have the fans behind us, because we've seen that last week. Fans will be behind us, apart from the final whistle. Let's go and have a go at them.
Absolutely, and you know, I think you're right with Frank. It's not for the want of trying. You know, I think he is working hard and he's trying to come up with a way to get wins. It's just not happened for him, and people can discuss that all day long, whether he's good enough, whether he isn't good enough. Has he been given as much help as what he should have done? No, not at all. Has he been given the tools to do the job properly? No, not at all. So regardless of what happens, if he does end up paying the price for it, managers do, which is why we've just been discussing it. Don't win games of football and you're in the bottom 3 halfway through a season. You probably should be relieved of your duties. They know the score when they take the job. That's why they're so well, you know, recompensed. They know that that's the game you're playing. It's a results game. He could walk away and go, I gave it everything I had, but he didn't get me these forward players and all that. And he would be, no one could turn around and go, shut up, Frank, you had everything, you messed it up, because he hasn't. And that's where you've got to look at it that way. But what they've got to do is, like you said, come up with some kind of game plan. West Ham are flowing with confidence. You know, they had a good win at Brentford in the FA Cup, and they followed it up with a defeat against Wolves, who were down there as well. Yeah. So Their form isn't great. It's a bit like, I think the winless in 7, which is probably, I think we're winless in it feels about 30, but it's about 8 or 9, whatever. 1 win in 13 we've had, which is absolutely diabolical. But we did beat them at Goodison, and that was a tight game, and I imagine Saturday will be another tight one.
Yeah, let's just have a look at Everton's team from the game against Southampton. Obviously, we did start with the 3 at the back, and obviously like Damari Gray playing off Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Didn't really play like that though, did
no,
we had a look at the final, the
final positions.
Gray
was ahead of Dom.
Gray was ahead of Dom. Yeah. Dom was on the halfway line. Michalenko was the deepest.
Yeah. Can you see any changes from that, or would you make any changes from that?
What I think is really difficult this time is obviously you're aware. I think you touched on it last week. The manager's thinking with 25 minutes to go on Saturday against Southampton at 1-1 probably should have been to, people be shocked here, but probably should have been to put Dwight McNeil at left wing back, because Michalenko was just so deep against the team he didn't need to be so deep against, because they weren't really doing anything. And the onus is with you, as the home team to push on. But obviously, I'm hoping Alex Iwobi is fitter than he was last week. I don't believe he was fit last Saturday. He certainly wasn't himself. And therefore, you have a look and go, well, what other realistic changes can he make? Does Anthony Gordon come into the side? Well, after his cameo last week, given the winner away, no. We haven't really got many other options. Damari Gray's going to start no matter what. I think he's scored and assisted in his last 3 games for Everton. I think he's never done 4 with a goal or an assist. So right now you'd say, well, he's in all right form. As frustrating as he is, and we saw that with the winning goal, how frustrating he is. He could have got that out of his feet, crossed it, and Everton might have scored. He didn't. He's got the ball taken off him and he lay on the floor pretending he was being kicked, and he hadn't, and they score from it. So, you'd look, Onana was excellent last week, man of the match. So hopefully he can have another good performance, and obviously West Ham thought they had Onana, didn't he? But what I would do is I'd tinker with it slightly, and I'd have Onana and Garner in a double 6 for this one, and have Alex Iwobi roaming a little bit in front, keep them 2 back, and see if we can on the break get our full-backs high. The problem is, if we had, it's a pity, of course it is, but pity we haven't got Patterson.
Yeah.
Because Seamus does well for 65 minutes, and then you can see the drop. And then it's what comes on to replace him. Like last week I was saying Anthony Gordon may be coming on now for that last 25 minutes and have a go, and he come on and done nothing.
Well, does he maybe mix it up in that case and look at it and go, well, actually, this is a game where we are playing someone who's close to us. It feels like it's a must-win game. Do we start by playing maybe Anthony Gordon right wing back and Dwight McNeil left wing back and saying, no, we're going to spin this. We're going to play 2 sitters, have 3, have 2 sitters, and actually we're going to have width in this game. And then Damari Gray has the space behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and just flip it a little bit and say, actually, no, we're going to put the pressure on you. We're not going to sit back and go, come on to us. I mean, that might work at Man City, or you might try it against Man United. We're going to have loads of the ball because they're a technically much better side. But I look at West Ham and I think, they're not listen, I don't know if the difference between the team, but obviously they're having massive issues. It's not clicking for them for whatever reason. And I look and think, well, maybe that is what you do. Maybe you spin it on its head, and then you get James Coleman on for the last 20 minutes, like he did at City, and protect the back line if we have got a lead, or do you know what I mean? I just think there might be ways. What's been going on?
What I was going to say, that might be totally wrong here, is though, what about, having Ben Godfrey in one of the wing back positions and putting Yerry Mina in?
Yeah, that's
and
what I was going to suggest.
3 solid centre backs.
I was actually going to suggest.
Albeit, I have, people are saying now and go, where's the pace there? Well, we're not really going to play on the halfway line. Well, we shouldn't do. We did that last year when we lost Michael Keane. On the halfway line, he ended up scoring. They scored 2 goals from that, from breaking. So that could be one way he does it, and then you'd have Ben Godfrey as either right wing back or left wing back, or you'd have him right wing, even though, he's not his position, is it? Because he's not tremendous with the ball at his feet, but he is very quick. unless he went to a flat back four and Godfrey occupied one of the full back positions, and then he tried to do a 4-5-1 formation. So he's got a couple of ways to do it. I just think the problem for Frank Lampard is he's not stumbled on something that's worked, and he's been able to use it regularly. And I understand people who don't like the five at the back. I get it. I get it. I understand why he's trying to do it, though. It's trying to have safety in numbers and get someone closer to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But last week, Everton didn't play a 3-5-2. They played a 3-4-3. Yeah. And the 3-4-3 was that Dom was isolated. The Wobie was on one. We were just all... Yeah. It just looked lopsided to me. We had the two wing-backs were supposed to be wide midfielders. Onana and Garner were supposed to be central. Wobie was on one wing and Gray on the other. And it didn't do Dominic Calvert-Lewin any favours either, because no one was close to him. So...
Well, let's just have a little look at West Ham's side. And that's the team they played.
See, they play a 4-3-3. That's what they played at Wolves last week. Obviously, they got Kufal and Cresswell who like to push on, but you know, and then you've got obviously Declan Rice will sit. You've got Souček, Paqueta, and then obviously Bowen, Fornells, and Antonio. So you know that's still a strong West Ham side.
I mean, that's the team. That's the team that did well in Europe last season. Got them back into Europe. It's done well in Europe. I mean, we walked out of the the Europa Conference group, didn't they? So you know, it's not an issue. I know the standard of teams is really low, but
still got to win, haven't you?
But they've been poor for about a year, haven't they? I mean, if you talk to West Ham fans, they'll say last January's where it started to.
Saying they've only took 40 points in a year. A couple of West Ham fans were telling us, weren't they? Saying it's been poor since January. We both watched something with David Moyes on this week, and he was saying it's just one of them things at the moment. He's trying to change things, and it's the dip maybe as he's trying to turn the team around. And that's something that Everton and Frank Lampard can hopefully exploit. You know, we're not very good at exploiting anything. We've won one away game all season. It was at Southampton, well, apart from the fans. We've beat Southampton away. And I'll be honest with you, I was quite surprised when I looked at West Ham's record, because in my mind you're thinking, oh, well, even though they're playing poorly, they'll be a bit higher up than that. So, you know, Everton have got the opportunity to beat a rival, which is not something they've done at any stage this season, certainly since the Bournemouth game. You know, Leicester rather, the one before that, they were down near the bottom as well. So, you know, it's a opportunity. This was supposed to be our decent run in the season. We've not won a single game. And it does feel like you just go from week to week going, this is the opportunity for Everton to start the resurgence. And every week we sit here on a Monday and go, we were crap.
To be honest, I don't really feel like that. I don't feel like this is... I mean, I'm not sitting here going, this is the chance, we all know smart.
No, I just because they're down there.
If you ain't getting something from West Ham, then, you know what I mean, where they are. I mean, we've got nothing from teams at home that have been around us. You've got a 2-week gap. If something, and that's why I was saying about the game being such a pinnacle. It's a pinnacle game. I mean, it's a bit strong to say this is one of the most important games in Everton's history and all that nonsense. But when you think about what could come off the back of this game, if it's a negative result, you're talking about change your manager.
Yeah.
But even if it's a not negative result, you're looking at the next 2 weeks, thinking what comes after that is got to be positive. It's got to be new signings. Yeah. Going forward, giving us something going into a tough run of games.
I'm bringing the facts back.
Doing me. I mean, what's the difference?
I'm bringing the facts back. Well, I stopped doing it and we haven't won anyway.
What's the difference?
So you're getting all of these facts at
the end. Just look at...
Sorry.
Let's look at Jarrod Bowen, because obviously I think he got the winner last season, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Very, very jammy winner last season.
It was, yeah.
19 games, 2 goals, no assists, 2.2 shots. And I think that shows you the difference, doesn't it? Last season, everything he was hitting, he was getting all that luck. Their luck from last season, Newcastle have got that now. It happens, doesn't it? It is though.
They were good last season, West Ham.
You make your own luck at times, don't you? And he was the big man, and obviously there this season it shows you that he hasn't hit the height. He was around the England squad and stuff like that, and obviously that went away.
He's been a good signing for West Ham, though. He has been a good signing for West Ham.
No, he has been a good signing, been typical Moyes type signing.
People looking at him probably a bit more.
I think it's gone off the boil since he's got with Danny Dyer's daughter, Danny Dyer.
Probably. Probably.
Just want to put that out
Say
there.
names your dad for your girl. It's not good, is it?
And also they sing a song, don't they? And Danny Dyer has to listen to that song.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say anything.
No, don't.
Go on, get your facts back.
So where's the facts? Following a 2-1 home win last season, West Ham are looking for consecutive home wins over Everton for the first time since November 1986. In a long time. Everton are looking to complete a Premier League double over West Ham for the first time since the 2014-15 season. Everton have won more Premier League games, 28, and scored more Premier League goals, 89, against West Ham than any other opponent in the competition. If they win this game, the Hammers will be the first team the Toffees have racked up 100 Premier League points against, on 97 against them. Everton are winless in 9 Premier League away games in London since they beat West Ham 1-0, which is a good place to end that winless run, isn't it? About this, they last went 10 without a win in the capital between March 2017 and November 2018, a run which ended with a 2-0 win at West Ham. Omens. This is the first league meeting between West Ham and Everton, with both sides in the relegation zone since February 1995. Tony Cottee scored twice for West Ham. Rideout and Lampard scored for Everton in a 2-2 draw. Since the start of last season, Everton have earned the fewest points of any of the 17 ever-present Premier League sides. They've won just 3 of their 28 Premier League away games in that time. Fewer even than Fulham, who only joined the division this year. No side, it should be a cracker this one, by the way. No side has scored fewer first-half goals in the Premier League than both Everton and West Ham. They've scored 6 goals each, which is terrible. This will be David Moyes' 641st Premier League match as manager, and Damari Gray's been involved in each of Everton's last 3 Premier League goals, scoring 2 and assisting 1. It's only the second time in his career he's done that for 3 games consecutively. Never ever done it for 4. So
I think that sort of
says it all, doesn't it? So there you go. There's some facts, and we'll see how we go.
So I think that just to summarise, West Ham are crap, Everton are crap.
Everton's board's crap, and Everton don't score goals, and neither do West Ham. So
5-4,
5-4, or a 4-4. You know, you never know. You never know. El Sakiko.
Let's
see what happens.
Let's see. The loser gets Sam Allardyce. Imagine that. Just Sam Allardyce hanging above the stadium in a cage.
Manage both teams.
Like Mad Max.
Manage both
in his
teams.
little bills, fairy bills, and the loser gets. Imagine the motivation that would give you.
The loser gets Allardyce and the winner gets Dyche. And Moyes and Lampard just gets a couple of weeks off.
Absolutely incredible there. Incredible.
Hell in a cell. There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Well, you know.
The Hell in a Cell match.
West Ham's game,
Big
ground does resemble more of a wrestling stadium, than an actual football one. There you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. It's going to be interesting. I mean, the good news is at 5 o'clock on Saturday, that's the last time you're going to have to watch Everton for nearly 2 weeks. So I think that's a positive.
I
think that's a positive.
To collect your thoughts for a couple of weeks, isn't it? It is, isn't it?
We'll just leg it.
Oh,
there you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. It's going to be a classic, guarantee you.
Or a Sakiko.
There you go. Make sure to check out all the amazing videos here on Toffee TV and all the lives that we've been doing. Make sure you check all of them. Why have you pulled a face? They are all amazing videos.
All amazing?
All amazing.
Even the ones with Ned on?
Even the ones with Ned on.
Okay, well, fair enough then.
Got a big up Ned up, haven't you?
Fair enough.
There you go. The link's in the description. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want to get more amazing videos and more live amazing videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description. And the QR code will be coming on the screen in 2 seconds. See you later.